At the end of the medalist review, I kind of said next was going to be solo leveling. And if you watch the medalist review on the day it premiered, April 1st, you'll know that I said that was the solo leveling video. Why? Because it's April 1st! It's April Fool's Day! I want to have fun, goddammit! I want to have fun in this life! But yeah, no. The time has come to talk about solo leveling. The biggest anime in the world so far this year. A success that is the follow-up to a very successful Season 1 last year, and a crazy popular manhwa. We've had manhwa adaptations in the past, whether it's Tower of God, God of High School. All these sorts of shows have come out that are based on Korean comics. However, solo leveling, I think, has actually had a very strong success here in the West leading up to its adaptation, and only continued on as its domination of the planet continues. And naturally, the topic then goes to, how does it do it? This isn't the next big Shonen Jump title. This isn't the next standard isekai people will just go to from season to season. This is kind of its own beast. Now, don't get me wrong. It does utilize a lot of what makes these sorts of shows popular. It is a male power fantasy. There is a lot of video game references in it. Much of the lore is kind of based around video games. And it does have incredibly cool, slick, fun action animation. But I do think to get to the point where this show is, there does need to be a little more meat on the bone. To not just be a flavor of the week power fantasy, you have to have something here that makes it resonate with people. And I, for a long time, did not want to find out what that is. I avoided this series for years. Friends wanted me to read it. Everyone was begging me to watch it, but I'm like, no! Male power fantasy anime, bad! Me watch sad crying show. But I decided to finally give the show a try, and you know what? I actually liked it a lot. I really had fun with this. I got way more into this than I thought I would. And I have kind of come across a few of the reasons why I think this show is successful. 5, to be exact, which is why today we're talking about the 5 simple tricks solo leveling does to win people over. And naturally, we have to start off with number 1, the premise. So, solo leveling takes what feels like it should be a very simple idea. And that is that 10 years ago in this world, portals started showing up that allowed people to venture into what they called dungeons. And dungeons had tons of natural resources and new elements and things like that that have pushed humanity forward, and to which the entire world's economy is now based around. These people who go into the dungeons are adventurers, and throughout the course of the series, we see how adventurers have basically redefined the landscape of humanity. We see how they're treated like celebrities, how they're looked at as heroes, how they basically are influencing the world because they are given powers that allow for them to go into the dungeons and get said resources. Now, I'm sure many of you will say that there are stories out there about people simply being able to go into another world and come back, not just get stuck in it like an isekai. And while yes, that is a thing that does happen in fiction, it doesn't happen as much as, say, bog standard generic kid gets sent to video game land. And also, what I think does make the show very unique is that it does spend a lot of time showing you how the world has developed, how it's moved forward, and how it is evolving because of the portals, because of what's in them, and because of the people who can go get them. We're always seeing how adventurer guilds can take over entire corporations, how countries yield to them just to get the resources they can acquire for them. And I think that does give the show a very interesting, unique flair. It's not just about our one dude, it's about everybody. Our dude is just who we focus on. Speaking of which, number 2, the characters. So, solo leveling fans will be the first to tell you that Jin Woo and the rest of the cast of this show are not that interesting. And while I agree, I actually think it kind of works here. Not every story needs the most super in-depth complex characters, but the reason isekais fail is because they just make the characters very one note. They're very easy for you to imagine yourself as. So they'll have like one sad character trait, rather it's a sad backstory or a personality quirk, but that will quickly basically be written away so that way you can just get on to all the cool shit. This show is different. While yes, Gene Woo is very simple, I think just the fact that he has very real world drama, and that drama is always kept in the forefront, I think is just a very nice way to keep him grounded and understandable. Rather, it's the fact that the mother's in a coma and he's got to pay for her care. Rather, it's he's got a teenage sister who's got to be taken care of. These are things real people go through. It's just the unfortunate side of life. And for all the times he is super badass awesome, man, you do get scenes where he's worried about being able to help his mom. You do see him try to be like a fatherly figure to his sister. You see how he interacts with friends, other adventurers. All these just little moments. While they don't make him like the most complex character in the world, I think they do make him relatable enough to where I want to see him succeed. I want to know that he's going to be okay and that the people in his life will be as well. And I think that's really the best you should hope for with a character, that they can deliver on that factor. And of course, there is one way to deliver on that factor: the action. The action is fucking great in this. Visually spectacular, really well choreographed. Yes, there's a formula to it, but God damn it, at least I can always follow the characters. I always know what's going on, and I do get excited for those big moments. I don't have a lot much else to say, and I don't have a good transition, so let's move on to the world. I already covered the world a bit in the premise, but I do think it is important to take some time to really just kind of like show the way everything is connected. I think there's a great way everything ebbs and flows in this show. From seeing how the emergence of Gene Woo, someone who is that powerful, affects everyone around him, to the fact that, while yes, there is a system in place, the show shows us that all of this is still so new, it's not super well defined. So you have the big thing in the show, which is that, adventurers can't level up. Well, why? Well, because it's never really been experienced, because this hasn't been going on for so long. Why do powers work the way they do? Well, we think that's how they work. Why do monsters work the way they work? Well, we think that's how that works. The show does a good job of showing how none of the companies are so infallible or hyper intelligent that they know the be-all end-all to everything. That shows that adventurers often are driven by their own hubris and ego and have become very just thinking they run the world and they understand everything. But in comes the factor of Gene Woo. On the one hand, he does seem like he's the most specialist boy in the world, but maybe he's not. Maybe just this phenomenon happens very rarely, and he could be one of 100 out there. We don't know this because the show has taken the time to present a world that is guessing its way through and trying to understand what has now happening in it and what has transpired in it. And I think that's a really nice way to world build, and it's a really just great way to keep the world feeling understandable and relatable. This idea of humanity getting a new power and immediately just figuring out how can we profit of and thinking it knows everything, I think we can all agree is a big part of reality and just the human condition. Finally, number 5. I don't actually have a 5th thing, but 5 is good in the title. Fuck it, let's go with the music. I really love the score for this show. It's a really nice combination of epic and actiony, but there are also some nice tender moments. I like the intros. I don't really like the EDs very much, but I think the music does play a good part in setting up the atmosphere. It really does know how to be epic when needed to be and also calming when needed to be. So real quick, we're running out of time. What are my personal biggest flaws with solo leveling? All the issues people bring up are true. The power fantasy aspect gets old after a while. The characters could probably have some more in-depth, especially some of the more lesser side characters, though I do like the best friend quite a bit. He's a lot of fun. My biggest gripe by far, though, and this might just be a me thing, the video game terminology does get old after a while. I'm sorry, I know the video game shit. And the video game stuff you could argue is part of the world building. He calls them loot boxes because that's what he knows it as being a modern day person. Guilds and all this shit is probably just because these are terms people know, but after a while, it does get really old. It does get kind of annoying, and I wish they maybe kind of like branched out with the terminology. Also, the villains are not anything. They're just disposable. I would like for some more maybe compelling bad guys and worlds, but I don't know what we have in store. All in all, I would say Solo Leveling is probably to most people, even its fans, a just very well done power fantasy anime. But I do think there is a little more being done here. I think there is an attempt to elevate what is presented to us, and I think that's worth commending when it happens, because let's be honest, it doesn't as much as it should. But in the comment section below, give me your thoughts on Solo Leveling, what you liked, what you didn't like. Do you agree with my points? That's why the show works. Do you think maybe it doesn't? Give me that in the comment section below. And as always, click to like, click to subscribe, and join me next time, because I think it's time to tackle the 2-card game anime.